Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everyone? It is Geoff Mosher and Adam Caplan at the end of a week that was a lot quieter than it was the previous week when all sorts of stuff about practice and stuff were going on for the Eagles. Quiet week, but obviously an important week, I suppose, for the Eagles here as they travel to Green Bay to play the Packers. It's not a place that they traditionally do well. Most teams don't in Lambeau, although I think, Adam, I was at Green Bay. That was Chip Kelly's, first or second season. Nick Foles went there. They won that game. If you remember, the Packers started Seneca Wallace, and he only played about
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, you got a good memory. I do remember that.
But who did they bring in for Seneca Wallace? That's what we have to remember. All I can remember is it's a quarterback who played at Wisconsin.
It was a righty. It was first names with a B.
I can see it, man.
You're killing me with this one. Is it the same guy who played with the Vikings?
Probably, and I just can't remember it. We'll
get
it by the end of the show.
I would have remembered it. You know how I like to scrub quarterbacks.
Yes, I know you do. Now I can't remember if it was that guy who started the game and then Seneca came in. No, I think Seneca started the game and that guy came in and the Eagles won. That was the year Nick Foles with the 27-2.
Oh, yeah, in 2013. Okay. I will tell you who it is. Since you're asking me, I will know in about 10 seconds. Yeah,
I might find it first.
Seneca is actually coaching now. Seneca Wallace is actually coaching now. The Eagles won 27-13. The quarterbacks in that game were wrong guy. You're right about Seneca Wallace, but Scott Tolzien, I remember
Scott Tolzien, Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So. That's right.
Scott Tolzien.
Good call by you. Nice job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't forget a lot of things about Lambeau because I've been there. And
what's it like? Give our listeners. I've never been there. What's it like?
I know this sounds cliche, but it's football mecca. It's just an unbelievable stadium that I think is really cool because they have managed to modify it for 2000 and 2020. They have nice what do you call them, the luxury seats and the corporate seats, but they've managed to do that without taking away the college bench seating and the just the atmosphere of it is still very small town and collegey and awesome. And it's just an unbelievable place, and it's hard to be there when there's not snow coming down, even just a little bit. Last time I was there was a little snow coming down. The people are so nice. The colors. They have a big kind of like a Packers and NFL museum inside the stadium with a 4-story Vince Lombardi trophy. So, replica trophy, pretty awesome. So every time I go there, I always took a minute to just walk around on the field and take it all in because it really is an unbelievable place.
That game that you were talking about in 2013, pretty funny. I can't remember this, but do you know who led the Eagles in receiving in that game? And he had a huge game.
2013.
Yeah, I vaguely remember one of the touchdowns he had.
Well, it's probably Riley Cooper. I know.
You got it. Yeah, 3 for 102 and 2. Shady McCoy was unbelievable, 25 for 155.
Right.
Look, as you said, this was the year when Nick Foles was like Mr. Accuracy, and he was in an offense, a gimmick offense that he did great in the so-called 27-2. But that's interesting. So as we turn the page to this game, lots going on, and we hope people watch on Sunday because Greg Cosell's back. Talked to Greg on Thursday. Loved doing the show last week with Trey and Jamal Jackson. I'll tell you what. I was taking notes. Like you noticed in that show, I kept asking, okay, so explain that kind of protection, this kind of protection. This was such a learning experience. I've learned more about the offensive line working with these guys than I have in 21 years.
It is incredible. If you're an offensive line junkie, if you're a trench warfare junkie, and you want to understand the rules of protection, where the offensive line slides, what it means to be 5-0 when you're facing a 5-man front, what it means to be 2-jet or 3-jet when you hear that stuff yelled out on TV. Yeah. Jamal and Trey did an unbelievable job of breaking it down and arguing about it in the process.
That was
really
great.
Funny.
Well, the funny thing about that is Trey swore that Jamal was not right on something. And I was, I know they're close and everything, but it was just kind of funny to see them go back and forth. And they were, Jamal was pretty, Trey was pretty serious about it. It's like, wait a minute.
Yep.
And they're going back and forth. I'm just watching this. This is folks, we don't script anything. We have some stuff we want to hit on each show. We let the information take us where we need to go, and the conversation. That was just phenomenal.
Yeah, it was funny because Jamal is the center, and in most cases, and we're going to talk about this because the Packers have a banged up center.
Yeah,
the center is the brains of the operation for the offensive line. So you could just see Jamal, the expression on his face, where dude, you're questioning that. I'm the one who knows all of this. This is my job, and you're telling me that I'm wrong, but I know that I'm right. It was great stuff. It was. So you know, I would even recommend going back, listening to it. If you happen to be on the YouTube channel, you can also check out. We've done a bunch of great ITB TVs lately. We've had former Eagles president Joe Banner on. We've had 6-time NFL GM of the Year Bill Polian on, and we're going to, depending on when you're listening to this, it may already be up, but we're going to have ESPN's Kevin Nagandi joining us for our most recent one, which I'm excited about because Kevin's a really good dude. If people
passionate.
Yeah, people don't know he's a Philly guy.
Passionate Eagles fan. Kevin and I worked at ESPN together for 4.5 years before I left, and I didn't really know him before I got there. We knew of each other, but it's just we're going to tell a couple when we do this thing with him. We're going to do a couple stories with him, but it's pretty interesting how many people from the Philadelphia area work for ESPN when I was there. It was crazy. There were so many people. Remember Chris McKendry was a SportsCenter host. She did. Several people in middle management and other people, other talented people. It's amazing. The Eagles down in Connecticut. You never know who you're going to meet down there.
Yeah, go figure. So yeah, I'm excited. Kevin also went to Temple, right? Were you guys there at the same time?
No, I'm way older than Kevin. Yeah, I'm way older. And by the way, Joe Banner worked with us at ESPN. How about that?
That's right. And Brian Dawkins.
B-Dawk. Yeah, B-Dawk. Let me tell you something before we move on. I didn't know him real well before we got there. Mm-hmm. But we got to know each other. And he would break down, because I'd have to talk about it on whatever show I was on. He would break down Chip Kelly's offense for me from a defensive perspective. I got to tell you, it was one of the best educations I've gotten in my life of what an offense looks like to a defensive back. It was bleeping phenomenal.
Yeah, I get that. I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. Was Jaworski still on Monday Night Football at that point too?
No, Jaws was
he's still working for ESPN though.
No, he was. No, in fact, we did SportsCenter together.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it was one sports. This is unbelievable. I know, folks, we're boring you, but I got to tell this story just to give you an idea of you never know what's going to happen. So I work with Teddy Bruschi, who's the best guy ever. It was on a SportsCenter segment, which is supposed to be SportsCenter is not supposed to be very long, more just to get in and get off within 2 or 3 minutes. So they did a little of a panel. It was me, Banner, Teddy Bruschi, and whoever the host was. The segment was so long, they went 12 to 13 minutes, which you're not supposed to do. And it was a talk of the 05 Super Bowl. It was technically 04 season, whatever the hell it was. Mm-hmm. But they played in Jacksonville. It was so great to hear them talk about that. But that's what happens when you never know when you and I are doing this show here. You never know where these conversations are going to go.
That's right. And you can't disrupt the flow of great TV. I know that.
No, exactly. No, because they will cut, go, break,
right.
Or they'll tell you 30 seconds. But they do tell you to blow through. When you're at Comcast Sportsnet, mm-hmm. when you do all the TV shows,
yep.
When things were rolling, did they let you go blow through the break? What shows do you remember back then? What shows you were on? Was there?
Well, I get the only shows that we would do. Most of the stuff that I did was recorded, pre-recorded.
Oh, did you do DNL? Did you do Daily News Live?
Oh, yeah, I did Daily News Live a lot, but those are, as you're mentioning, quick hitting sections where you probably stick to the breaks more. I did the tape breakdown show. We called it. I can't even remember the Monday night show. It was me.
Yes,
Ray Didinger, and
yes, Jamal. I love that show. By the way, I love that show. I would take because my first year at ESPN was 13. I worked for Comcast Sportsnet. ESPN, I was just a contributor, mm-hmm. so I was able to do whatever I wanted. But I would make sure, because I didn't have to go to Bristol till like Wednesday that week. I would always watch. I love that show. Was Baldy on that?
No, it was me, Ray Didinger, and Jamal Jackson. And the host of the show was Ron Burke, who's one of the greatest.
Oh, the greatest. He's working in Florida
an unbelievable
now.
Dude.
Yeah, great.
And so but mostly, even though that was a live show, most of the work was done in the morning, breaking down the tape, figuring out the plays we were going to isolate. Okay. It was a live show, though, so there were probably times where we did run through the break a little bit because the show involved going through the tape and then having a discussion about what was going on.
Now, would you watch the All 22 with Ray?
Yeah, it was. So Ray, Jamal, and I would all meet at CSN around like 8:30, 9 in the morning. Sometimes I'm just getting back. This is Monday. I'm just getting back. That year they played in San Francisco, in Arizona, in Houston. I think this was 2012 or 15, 2015. 14, 15.
Chips
like
last
that.
year. Okay.
Yeah. Either that or his second year. It's all fuzzy.
Okay. I got you.
And so, and then there would be some producers who were really knowledgeable about football. I don't know if you know Mike Mulhern does a great job, and at the time Bill Griggs was working there. His uncle played for the Jets. I remember that, Bill Griggs.
It can't be Anthony Griggs.
Yeah, that was his uncle. I believe.
Well, Anthony Griggs also played for the Eagles. That's
funny. Good point. Yeah.
Wow, that is decades ago. Wow, how about small world? Wow.
Exactly. So he was working there as a like an assistant producer as well, and so we all just piled in that small green room, put the all 22 on, went through everything, and did the best we could.
Wait, you would actually? Oh, so you didn't go to films? You would watch it in the green room at Comcast?
Yeah.
That little thing. Oh
God. Can you believe it?
Wow,
miracles happen in that small little green makeup room at Comcast Sports.
Oh my God, I loved working for them over the years, just so that my little thing I would do on Thursdays. But that green room, man, was a closet. My TV studio here is probably bigger than their my makeshift TV studio is probably bigger than their makeup room back then. But wow.
Yeah, well, just think about it. The Eagles would play like a Sunday night game. The Eagles were good for like 3 or 4 primetime games under Chip Kelly, if not 5. And even if it wasn't cross country, that I'm getting back to my hotel room, say from like Indianapolis or wherever, at like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. Then I got to hop on a 5 a.m. flight to get to Comcast by 8 in the morning. Rube would be like, "Where are you?" Ruben Frank would say, "What are you doing? Where are you going?" I'm like, "I got to be back by I got to be at Comcast by 8 in the morning." He'd be like, "It sucks to be you."
No, but you know what? That's when television has changed. I love that show, man. That tape show. That to me is the lost art of television.
Yeah.
Other than our friend Greg Cosell show, the matchup show, which is phenomenal on ESPN. I never miss it. It is my warm up for every Sunday because it just gets the juices flowing with he and Matt Bowen and of course Sal Powell.
Right.
I just wish we would have more tape breakdown shows.
It was. That was the only one really. And by the way, the name of the show is Eagles Extra. That's what it was.
Eagles Extra. Yes.
Monday
I remember
night.
It very well.
Yeah. And listen, I learned so much just watching tape with Jamal. See, you say this all the time. And it's true. If you're watching tape, you can learn some things on your own if you're an amateur. Right. But when you watch it with a football player, you understand that there are things that go on that look like it's somebody's fault, but then you realize it's somebody else.
Exactly. And I it's funny you say that, folks. Before when Greg and Geoff and I talk, Geoff might say, "Hey, do you know what happened on this play?" And I'll go, and I generally say no, because unless I ask someone, I'm not gonna know. I'm not educated enough. The only thing I know what I'm looking at for sure is quarterback, just because I've watched with so many hours with Jaws and Greg Cosell in their office from 2010, probably 2010, no, 2002 to probably 2013. Mm-hmm. So, but then once you start talking to coaches, Geoff, as you know, it takes it up another notch because they really know what the play is.
Yeah.
And it's just, you got to be careful when you're trying to be critical. If you've never sat in with coaches, you've never learned the how to grade coaching tape, you got to be careful of how critical you are because you're going to be wrong a lot.
Yeah. Hey, God bless Quentin Michael, because 2 years ago I was watching. It was that. Do you remember that game against the Saints where the Eagles got their rear ends kicked in, 41-7? I think it was.
We talked about the one when Sean Payton did the Peter King article.
Yeah, when he was going right at Sidney Jones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of funky things that went on in that game. Obviously, they got their rear ends kicked, but specifically from a passing game standpoint. So I asked Q, who lives about 20, 25 miles from me, and probably about 500 tax brackets, if he could meet me somewhere like in the middle of where we live at like a Starbucks, because I had some questions, and he did it, man. We met at Starbucks, and I brought the laptop, and we went through the all-22, and he explained so much to me that helped me make it sense. Awesome, I'm just really thankful for guys like that to be able to take the time for me. Absolutely. All right, so let's get into some of the transactions that went on this week. They're not nearly as many every week, Adam. There's fewer injuries, right? So there's less. But the big one is that Zach Ertz was activated from the 21-day window, so he's been practicing this week. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was taken off the COVID list. Lane Johnson went on IR, and then the Eagles signed another second straight week, right, that they've signed a practice squad cornerback.
Yeah, actually, another Kayvon, but spelled differently. Kayvon Seymour, who are folks, if you remember the draft, he was a 6th rounder with the Bills in 2016. He played a little bit for them in 16, and then he was traded to the Panthers and had some injuries. He's bounced. In fact, he hasn't played in the game for 2 years, but he's a guy that they want to take a look at for next season. This is kind of the time of year when you should be doing that. Either raid practice squads or you sign guys off the street who happen to be available. So you get them into your program, and that way you could just kind of go around and see if the guy's got any talent. And if he does, you could bring him in. So why not? It's kind of what the heck, why not?
Right. So you got Jamison Houston and Kayvon Seymour, and maybe one of those two guys shows you something at one point, I think Jamison Houston was the guy they signed last week.
Correct. The kid who played at Baylor, right.
Right. Okay. The Eagles also protected the following players: Jamon Brown, Rashad Smith, Raekwon, the Chef Williams, and of course, Jordan Howard. And after what we saw last year in the game against the Packers,
yes,
it almost seems like almost cliche that you call up Jordan Howard for this game. I don't know why. I mean, it's a whole year later, but
we'll see. This is Friday morning, and they have till Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern to call him up.
Right.
However they want, they could sign him off it, call him. It doesn't matter, but they could do whatever any way they want. But to be honest with you, at this point, and we'll get into some of the matchups. This game, there are a couple ways that, just talking to teams that have played the Packers, there are a couple ways you could beat them. People say they don't have a good run defense. That's definitely true, certainly by the numbers. But they are a total bend, don't break defense. I absolutely would do this. As much as I hate running the football, I would do it, man. I would do it. This defense does not play its talent level. They are so talented on defense.
Right.
They play all zone. They give you. They bend it, don't break. I'm absolutely gonna. I'd come in running it more than I normally would. This last game was absurd how much they threw it.
Right.
But I would. I like your thought process. I would bring in Jordan Howard off the practice squad. I absolutely would do that.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well. He had so much success last year, although I don't know if that means you have success this year. But like you're saying,
Sure.
when you can run the ball, and you'd want a pounder for this game. You don't want just the Boston Scotts and the Huntleys of the world, guys who catch little flares, and you want guys who run between the tackles hard. And other than Miles Sanders, they really don't. And Corey, who's been not used that much. I mean, and no one says you have to use Jordan Howard if you're not loving him. But I mean, if you like what you see, you have that option.
Yeah, and that game, he and Sanders were tremendous in that game. They had almost 160 yards combined from the two of them.
Yeah,
they were great. It just worked out. Ertz. Wentz didn't have to throw a ball a lot in that game, only 27 attempts. And now barring a surprise, Ertz will play this week because they have him limited, but that may be by design. And quite frankly, if you think he's playing, even so, you could wait till Saturday to activate him. They did it on Wednesday, which is a surprise to me. I don't know why they did it that early, just because there's no real advantage to doing it early. Because God forbid he has a setback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they did on Wednesday. They clearly are with him every day. They know he's ready, and hopefully there'll be no issues before the game.
The significance of this game is interesting because if you remember, last year's game was very significant because after winning their season opener, I think it was against Washington last year.
Yes.
In that kind of, Deshaun has the two bombs and everything like that, and after a slow start, they really kind of slaughter him. You're thinking that there's a real good opportunity to get off to a hot start. You got Atlanta the next on Sunday night, and then Detroit, and they wind up losing both of those games and suffering a lot of injuries. And then it was like, oh no, we're 1-2, and we have to go to Green Bay.
I picked the Packers.
We don't normally
win. I'm sure I did.
We did our watch party from Chickies and Pete's for that.
That's right. That's right. In fact, was it Mamola, right?
That one was with Todd Herman's.
Todd Herman's, okay. But that game, okay, folks, as we get into the weeds here, that game last year, Davante Adams absolutely manhandled their secondary. This is the game where Sidney Jones he grabbed his hamstring. I'm not going to say he didn't have a hamstring injury, but he grabbed his hamstring.
Right.
He started that game. And Andrew Sendejo played at safety, and it looked like they might be on the ropes here. And, of course, this is when Craig James made the miracle play.
When he wasn't even supposed to be in the game. That's
is that right? Was that the game?
Yeah, I don't think that was the Sidney Jones hamstring guy. I thought that was the following against
he did it. But this is
yes, you're right, because he was in the slot. You're right. He was a slot.
He did, and I could see right in my vision here, Davante Adams running down the right sideline, the right rail, and Sidney grabbing his hamstring. I'm like, you can't be serious.
Yep, I remember that. And that's what moved Maddox to the outside, and he had all sorts of issues on the outside. And then I think he limped off at the end, and then that's when they were looking for Sidney or somebody else to go back in, and Craig was the only one there, and they said, get in there, and he broke up a pass. It was
only played 2 plays on defense.
Right, it was incredible. So to get back to Ertz, though, he with the injuries, as we get into that, he's got the high ankle. You know, he wasn't ready last week when he was trending in the right direction. This week he's been out there on the practice field. I have to think he's going to play, but I do wonder if you remember Dallas Goedert coming back the first week against Dallas when he came back from his injury, he was mostly used as a blocker. Now, they're not going to do that with Zach because Zach's not a very good blocker, but you do wonder if Zach's going to be able to play, 80%, 90% of the snaps.
Don't know. Yeah, don't know. He just, as Bill Polian told us on Inside the Birds television, you give his close friend, Wentz's close friend, Zach Ertz, another pass target. That's what Ertz gives him. I know Zach was not playing at a particularly high level before he got hurt, but he does, as we know, get open a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Now with Goddard, had a great game against the Seahawks. The question now is, how much 12 will they play versus 11? Now, this is just me speaking. No one's told me this, but hearing Doug Peterson talk over the years about how much he likes 11 personnel, they don't have to overdo it with the 12 personnel. I hope he doesn't feel like he's got to do a certain thing because they have all these pass targets available, Geoff. It's like crazy. They have just about everyone. Who's not available? If Ertz plays, who would not be available? Oh, other than Deshaun, right?
Deshaun is really the only one, yeah.
Right. And he's barely played any of the last 2
seasons. But the only thing is that they really like to run with their 12 personnel and get Goddard in line as a blocker. And if this is the kind of game where you feel like, once again, you can kind of steamroll them up the middle like last year, then you're probably going to be a lot of 12 on first and second down and a lot of 11 on, second and long and third down.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a talk with an offensive coach from another team about 12 versus 11. He goes, the media overrates 12 personnel that you can't throw out of it because it's all about formation, the way you set it up and the way you move.
Right.
And because I had the reaction like, yeah, man, 12, you're not throwing a lot out of it. He goes, no. I said, you got it all wrong, man. And he goes, right. I love throwing out of 12 personnel.
Sure. You want a linebacker on Dallas Goedert instead of a safety or a corner.
So I'll be interested to see this is intriguing. I understand Wentz has played badly. We all know that. But if he gets himself together, right, I get it, but it's an if. With all their pass targets, Sanders, for goodness sake, coaches, could he get this guy the ball in the pass game already? I mean, I can't take it any longer. Boston Scott, too, okay? Yeah. He's a weapon there. Put it on the quarterback, okay? If he doesn't do his job, then pull him. But don't scale it back. Give him everything. Start him off easy. Get him comfortable and expand.
Yep. And by the way, to your point, they got the matchup that they wanted a couple of times against Seattle. I mean, Dallas Goedert had Bobby Wagner beat, and you saw it, Carson. We talked about it in the last podcast. His mechanics were bad, and he underthrew it because he had overstrided. But technically, that was that you threw it. If you threw it stronger to the outside shoulder, Goddard probably makes that catch. And then the same thing against the Browns. He had Carl Joseph matched up on him a couple of times, and Carson either couldn't make the throw or something else happened. I think even on the play where he took the hit, no, that was Reagor that was open. But still, he was matched up against Joseph, which is a matchup that you dream about, right? If you're the Eagles. So
did you say Carl Joseph?
From the I'm sorry, I meant the Browns, not the Bengals. The Browns.
Yeah, Carl Joseph. Oh, he's a boxer. He can't cover. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
you're right.
And so you saw Goddard was matched up with him one-on-one a couple of times.
He'd win that. Yeah, they've got to take advantage of the matchups in this game. I'm telling you, a very strong personnel source said to me, they are so soft with their zone defense. They give you a lot, but they're so gifted. They're just so talented that they don't get crushed every week. That's why they don't give up a ton of points. But they've given up 20 touchdown passes. You could move the ball against this team, but again, it's up to 11. I mean, he's just got to play well.
All right. Save this good stuff for when we get matchup.
Sorry,
I just want to finish up the injuries.
When I ask people about what do you think of this game for Philly, they go, "Oh, Green Bay is so soft. No, Philly could absolutely score." I'm like, "Yeah, but the quarterback."
Have you been watching Philly? That's what I would say.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because some guys haven't. It's funny you say that because they're aware that Wentz is not playing well, but they haven't really seen a lot of. They just go by what they see, from the opponent anyway.
Right. All right, so should we be concerned about Fletcher Cox with his neck?
Yeah, wow. How about this one? I was not aware of this coming out of the game, so he has not worked through Thursday.
Yeah.
Now, they did technically – I'm surprised that they worked on Wednesday. Now, I'm sure it was a light practice. They had a Thursday practice. Cox didn't play with a neck injury.
Mm-hmm.
This is a problem, okay? If they don't have him, this would not be good.
No, I mean, you're right. I mean, you always want Fletcher, but I mean, that's the one position where you think, okay, we can still do well in the trenches with Malik Jackson and with Javon Hargrave. I mean,
right? Yes, but from a rotational standpoint,
mm-hmm.
and just from be able to move the offensive line like he does when he becomes a He-Man. I mean, it's just you don't want to be without him in this game. We'll see. That again, this is a little bit of a surprise. He's got a neck injury,
right? And he does have a sack in 4 straight games for the first time.
He's, as we were saying on our other show, on Monday's show, he's clearly not the same player, but he's solid. He's still a good player. He's just not great anymore. That's just the way it is.
So T.J. Edwards is a hamstring, but is
limited.
It bad?
Limited. I don't know. He's limited. Remember, he was on IR 4-1, a hamstring strain, a grade 1, as I understand it before. Now, here's another one. Darius Slay, added after Thursday's practice with a calf.
Yeah.
I hope he tweaked it. It's nothing because, let me tell you something. If he doesn't play, penciling Davante Adams for 200 yards.
Oh, my God. If Darius Slay does not play in this game.
Do you realize that Davante Adams in last year's game had 10 for 180 in the middle of the third quarter. Then he suffered a bad turf toe injury, which limited him for 2 months.
It's amazing. I think about how many times I've seen over the years just some ridiculous receiving games against the Eagles. I mean, there have been some traumatic. I mean, you go back to like
Devontae Parker last year.
How about like that year where Roy Williams had like John Kitna to Roy Williams was like a thing for like almost 200 yards.
Oh my God, man! You got a better memory than me, man.
Only the painful ones, though. I always remember the painful ones.
Or I remember the Kevin Curtis one with wearing the stupid uniforms, those throwbacks.
I think that was the same game.
Against Detroit, yeah.
Yes.
I remember. The game was at home, so I was there.
Yep.
Wasn't it like 100 degrees out? If I remember, it was really hot.
It must have been because everybody was scoring touchdowns that
right.
day.
I think it might have been 08 or 07. People who have a better memory than you and I might remember the year. But
right.
No, it's funny, though, as we go through the matchups here. It's funny about the Eagles secondary. They've been pretty good for the most part about not giving up big plays. Now, we know that Browns had 2 big ones, over 40 yards. So they didn't score, but they broke the Eagles back in the rain in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
We know exactly what He-Man did, Metcalf against them. Should have scored by the fact that he could have had 2 touchdowns. He got caught at the 1-yard line on the bomb. And look, as Slay said, they put him on the island. He had a bad game. And Jim Schwartz explained it. What do you think of Schwartz's explanation of not giving him help?
Yeah, at the risk of sounding like a homer, I thought it made a lot of sense. And I think that he's right in that by not having to have bracketed coverage or just by leaving him alone and not having to slide the safety there, they were able to bring a safety up a little bit more, play against Russell Wilson. And they clearly did a good job for the second straight time, even though they didn't win in the regular season, of bottling up Russ and not letting him go third straight time, really, because Russ didn't have an amazing game either in the playoffs.
No.
So it's a formula that has worked for them. And most of the stuff that DK caught was a lot of that underneath stuff. I mean, he did make some big plays, but he also caught a lot of
similar.
underneath.
See, what they do is he has trouble throttling down. They get his body turned, and they want him going forward.
Right.
And when it's a crosser, it's kind of like A.J. Brown. If you watch A.J. Brown of the Titans, he rarely will be asked to run a straight 9 route.
Mm-hmm.
It's in-breaker 7s, crossers, get him going. Deebo Samuel, same thing. They rarely ask him to win on his own. It's all about scheme and design and knowing who you have and what you need to do to get them to get open.
Yep.
You might as well start with Eagles offense. Speaking of that, man.
But real quick on your point, though. So I thought Jim's explanation from a strategic standpoint made sense, but I don't think that excuses a cornerback to go give up 177 yards on 10 catches. Slay admitted it too. He did a bad job.
Well, he was right. Schwartz was right, though. The way he's explained to me by somebody, he was there. Like, he was able to run with him, but this is where you debate the double teaming or not.
Mm-hmm.
He's so strong. Slay's long, but he's not what you would call a strong cornerback. He's not weak, but he's not like a jacked up. Like Rasul Douglas built his body up. I'm not saying Rasul Douglas is talented, folks. So he's had a good year. But just because Rasul is long and he's strong, but we know he's not the greatest football player ever.
Mm-hmm.
But Slay's way more talented. But this is one that, look, you calculated risk. They did a great job against Lockett. Other than that smoke route, they did a good job against him.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Real quick, the last injury I want to get into is the Packers one. Corey Linsley, their center. Good player. Good player.
He is. He's their starting center. And if he can't play, that's why I was saying about Cox. If Cox can play, that's an advantage. That's an advantage where the Eagles could win. And, Rodgers is a big-time scrambler. He won't run very much, but he'll scramble.
Mm-hmm.
That's an advantage, man. If he doesn't play, in fact, the word Thursday was that he probably wouldn't play, but there was nothing official.
Right.
So if he doesn't practice Friday, he's not playing. That's the way I would see it. Players who don't practice during the week rarely play. They're special circumstances. Like Julio Jones sometimes doesn't practice during the week. They let him play, but I don't see it. That's an advantage that the Eagles would have there. The Packers typically every year have the most players, or amongst the most players listed on the injury report, but most of them play. It's amazing the job that they do. By the way, Dr. Robert Anderson, the renowned foot specialist, works out of that area there in Green Bay.
Well, I think Lane Johnson is going to be paying him a visit this week.
Yeah. Dr. Anderson's the best foot specialist. Every NFL player goes to him, just about.
Yes, that's correct. I remember Brandon Graham and Michael Kendricks went there after the Super Bowl season, I believe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, they both had some work to get done. All right, we're going to get into a little bit more into the matchups and the stats and the trends. First, we're going to stop. I'll let you know about our friends from PHL Sports Nation, always enhancing the fan experience with their coverage of all the Phillies teams, the Eagles, the Sixers, the Flyers, the Phillies, the Union. They are for the fan, by the fan. That's their motto. So make sure you're checking out all their great coverage and content on phlsportsnation.com. Also find them on Twitter at PHL Sports Nation. And we'll take another second to pause for a word for some other great sponsors, including our friends at Sky Motor Cars. All right, as we look at the Eagles offense versus the Packers defense, and we've already talked about it a little bit, that this, as you mentioned, Adam, they play a soft zone. Were you able to figure out, are they more of a cover one or a cover two zone type team?
They are cover three, cover two.
Cover one, cover three, yeah. One high safety.
They're so talented. Kevin King, number 20, if he does play, he's got an Achilles injury. He's long and he can move. He's hurt a lot. Mm-hmm. Jair Alexander is one of the best young corners in the league. He's number 23. He's phenomenally talented.
Very good player.
Yeah, they've got size. They've got athleticism. Brian Kuhnquist, the GM of the Packers, drafted unbelievably well. I mean, you're going to see him, the Smith brothers.
That's so funny that you say that, because I know a lot of Packers fans were not happy that they drafted a quarterback.
Draft a receiver, but you know what? Here's the thing. We'll get into their offense later, but I got a little nugget for you on Robert Tonyan.
Oh, yeah, Robert Tonyan.
Don't call him Tonyan, because we all thought it was until he corrected everybody.
Right.
But Kenny Clark, who got his contract extension, Rashawn Gary, the former first rounder in Michigan.
Yeah.
The Smith brothers. You know who plays a ton? Former Eagle, Chandon Sullivan. Yep. They're a big nickel team.
Mm-hmm.
Plays a ton. Darnell Savage, former first rounder from Maryland, is good. Adrian Amos, what a great signing that was, formerly of Chicago.
Yeah.
$9 million a year. It's a lot of money, but he's a very good football player. So here, unbelievable, one of the most talented defenses the Eagles will face, but they don't play to that level because of the scheme is just too soft.
Yeah, they had Blake Martinez for the last 2 years. He signed with the Giants, right? And he was a good tackler, and I feel like they probably missed that presence.
Yeah, you're right, because Kirksey is talented, but he's had a lot of injuries in his career. You might remember him from the Browns. And Kamal Martin is 54, who will be there. Look, it's a defense you could score and move the ball against.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of if because of the way the quarterback's playing. But if the Eagles can protect, it's there. I say this every week. I'm sorry, folks. I don't know what to tell you. It's just it's matchups look the way they do, and then they don't wind up doing it. What can I tell you?
Yeah, they're only just, you're making such a good point. They're just so mediocre in a lot of areas where they could be better. In third down, they're 13th in the league, which isn't terrible. It's not great. Red zone, they're bad, actually. 66.67% of the time, people score on them in the red zone. That's 8th worst in the league. So if the Eagles could actually get to the red zone, they might have a chance to score some
20
points.
touchdown passes, man. They're in the bottom 10 of giving up touchdown passes.
They are. They are.
It's
they don't pressure the quarterbacks. They have one guy right now who's doing a good job, and that's Darius Smith, the former Raven.
Yep.
But not been a great year for Preston Smith like it was last year.
Nope. And they gave up a ton of production to running backs, particularly obviously in the ground game. They gave up 4.6 yards per carry. I gotta listen. I hate this because folks have been with us since we started in spring of 2018. I don't like the run game, but you have to do it. You got to mix it up. Peterson's got to mix it up a little bit more. I know their line has had issues, but you just can't. When your quarterback's struggling like this, help the guy out. Will you help him out a little bit?
Yeah. Give him some nice 3rd and 3s. Run twice and then pass on 3rd and 3.
Or pass on first down. Ertz, get that 5 yards, make it 2nd and short.
Yeah.
Got it.
Play action too. Yeah. No, I know. I feel like we're a broken record. We speak as if these things are accomplishable by a functional offense, and then we go and watch the product and we say, well, geez, I can't. Like there was no analysis for this kind of dysfunction, right? I mean, again, you've got to get the ball to Reagor and Fulgham. I'll be so disappointed if Alshon Jeffrey gets 50% of the snaps again. There's no point in it. It's not helping anybody. Certainly not even helping Alshon. If he's trying to get like some stats over the last month of the year so he can go into free agency after being cut, like thinking like someone's going to get him, playing in this offense it's not going to happen for him.
He looks like, man, he's really laboring out there. Just from if you watch him run, I know he's never been fast, but
yeah,
he's herky-jerky laboring out there. Now, I know he can get open. This guy's always been able to get open. That's just the way that he is. His length and his savviness, but he just doesn't run very well. I don't worry about him, but let's get back to 18 Reagor. Those slot screens did not work, okay? They just didn't work. He needs more room. They got to move him around. They got to get him on the move as his movement Z receiver, which he really is, and figure out a way to scheme this guy open. Okay, he's not getting open. We know that. So help the guy out, coaches. Let me tell you something. If Richard Rodgers leads them in receptions at yardage, they're probably going to lose by 30 points. This cannot happen.
God, that would be.
I had it. Look, it's a great Richard Rodgers. God bless him. He stayed healthy. It's working. This is a good. This is you never imagine this, but he's done a great job. But that's not what you want.
Right. No, what I want to see, even how we talk about get a guy open and just figure out a way. Like I like the idea of Reagor going vertical because he has speed. He's fast and he's dynamic.
Cross the defender and let him go.
That's what I'm saying. But every once in a while on a cover 3 look, send anybody, Ward and Goddard vertical, and then have Reagor be your shallow crosser just because it'll be there, right? With your vertical routes.
Well, I wouldn't have Ward do it vertical. But you mean just straight?
No, because I'm trying to just get the ball in Jalen's hands in space, like immediate space, short area space, and then work my way up to a few deeper passes. I'm just trying to get the kid the ball in his hands within 10 to 15 yards and let him turn up the field and see if he can do something, right?
I mean, the screen, they tried it. I'll give them that credit, but it just didn't work. I know they have the offensive line they have, and hopefully at right tackle, it'll be Driscoll this week. They got to do this. He's not on the injury report. Get him.
Got to play him.
Got to play him at right tackle. He's a better athlete. At this point, I'm just doing it. I don't care. I'm just doing it. If he's healthy, you got to try it. He's done a nice job. When he's been asked to play, he's done a nice job. So get him out there.
I think he also, for whatever reason with Pryor, whether he's at right guard, right side, wherever you put him, he loses his confidence way too quickly. And when he does it, he kind of tends to give up on plays and not have his head in the game. And they're running stunts and twists, and he's just not mentally there.
They had a real problem with games up front, I was told. A couple guys told me that it was ridiculous how bad their communication was.
Very bad.
Yeah. So, and Pryor is a lunger because he's so long and bulky. He lunges. And he's not that he's a great athlete. We knew that coming in as a 6th rounder. But when he played well last year, you were talking about the confidence. He was way more confident and way more technically sound when he's playing inside. Who the hell knew he could play guard last year? It was, but we got to training camp. You and I were hearing, thumbs down.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's too bad. Before we finish off the offense, what do you think the odds are that we would see Jalen Hurts in a different role on Sunday, like in a more expanded role?
I give up. No, I was totally against it early in the season, but because of Wentz's struggles, and I was at training camp for a couple of days, and I remember being surprised at how the velocity came out of his hand. We're talking about Hurts. Because there's nothing like seeing – I saw him at the Senior Bowl, and I thought I was – to say I was disappointed with the way he threw the football there would be an understatement.
Yeah, I heard that too, that he did not throw it well.
So I was not expecting much, and I'm seeing the juice out of his hand. I'm like, this is interesting. And I went to 5 practices. The only thing he didn't like is he kept trying to break the pocket, which I understood because he's new to the offense. He wasn't there yet. He needs more reps. But the ball, he had some juice. He's a big kid. He's thick. I'm like, you know what? Get this guy out there. This is when I said, right as soon as they drafted him, when we were all like, they shocked the world when they drafted him. Taysom Hill, let's see it.
Yeah.
They're both thick. Like, get him out there. I'd like to see him for a series. I've been saying it for 2 months. Come on, give me something.
Yeah, I know. But, one of the points that we made, and listen, it's no time for a victory lap yet because there's still a career ahead of this kid. Yeah. But one of the points we made when they drafted him is that when you use that Taysom Hill analogy, you mislead people because Taysom Hill is a far different kind of player and far more explosive. He ran a way faster 40. I mean, he was just considered a better athlete.
Well, yeah, he's a multi-positional fullback,
right?
H-back,
right?
Running back, wide receiver, tight end,
yeah.
H-back, yeah, right.
When you watch Jalen Hurts on the field just doing zone read, you don't really see, and it's not his fault. I'm not trying to blame him. I'm just saying it's a predictable play. You don't really get to see the full burst of athleticism that he does have.
I would love to see him offset with Wentz at the quarterback. I like to see them throw him a screen pass. The kid can run. He's an athlete.
Yeah.
I just want to see some unique stuff from – I understand that sometimes it's hard to do this in a COVID offseason. You're just trying to get him to learn the quarterback position the way you want it to be played. I get that part of it. But they've got to try something. This offense, in addition to Wentz's struggles, did we see a little creativity against Seattle? Sure. Okay. Yeah, they tried slot screens. They tried some pre-snap motion. Seattle didn't really buy it. Seattle's front dominated the Eagles' front offensive line, but you can't stop. You got to keep trying, and they're still in it, man. They're technically, really, however you want to look at it, a game out.
Yeah.
So do it. This is a defense you can do it against.
Yeah, that's kind of why I drew the parallel to the significance of last year's game when they were 1-2, and it's like, oh my God, they're about to go to Green Bay and be 1-3. There's no way they can win there, and then they won, and then everybody felt differently about them at 2-2. And maybe
what a game that was! That was an awesome game. Oh my God,
and maybe if they win this game because their offense comes alive, you just think, all right, well, at least you found something. I'm not even talking about winning the division or getting back in first place. You're just looking for a sign of progression, of life from Doug, from Carson, from everything. You're just at this point, the Eagles are that I hate to be like use this analogy, but it's true. They're the victim laying on the table in the hospital, and the thing's going beep, beep.
Right, pulse.
You need the defibrillator here.
Right,
you need to bring them back to life. So
I get it, man. But okay, so that's Wentz, and again, they are super talented. Green Bay. When you guys watch the game on Sunday afternoon, you'll be like, wow, they got a lot of talent on there. Yeah, but they do give you they give you space. So the tight ends need to take advantage of it. Miles Sanders had a good game against them last year. So did Jordan Howard.
Right.
I might do Jordan Howard. I know it's a stretch. I mean, he hadn't played meaningful football since last season. I mean, he played for the Dolphins, but Shane Gillis thought so little of him that he made him a goal line back. He clearly didn't want him.
Yeah, I was going to say he hasn't played good football since last season either.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll tell you what, he looked damn good, Jordan Howard, before his neck injury. For what he is, as a bigger back. I mean, I would do it if he looks good in practice. Let me tell you something. If he's active in this game, again, I don't know what they're doing yet because it's only Friday morning. But if they have till Saturday to activate him, if he's activated, I'm getting him some work, man. I'm bringing it back. Same team. Come on.
I hear you, man. Maybe go a little double dip and see if that. Like I've been saying all week, Adam. At some point, you got to try something different. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So maybe that is kind of one of the things that you can do a little bit differently, just to throw a spark into the offense. All right, we're going to transition to the defense. First, I got to tell people the gyms may not be full, but there's definitely no shortage of madness this college basketball season. And for us fans, the college basketball powers that be have gifted us with a top-tier matchup between two powerhouses. This weekend, Gonzaga and Baylor will be going toe-to-toe for what could be the nation's top ranking. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is bringing you closer to the action with these can't-miss offers. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all college basketball fans who sign up now the chance to win $100 when betting on either Gonzaga or Baylor to win in this Clash of Titans. Plus, you'll get a deposit bonus up to $1,000 when you sign up using that promo code ITB. DraftKings Sportsbook has endless ways for you to bet, from live betting to betting on your own favorite players. They do it all. DraftKings is safe, reliable, and secure, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code ITB when you sign up for your shot to turn $1 into $100 when betting on either Gonzaga or Baylor to win. That's right. Bet $1 to win $100. Use promo code ITB during sign-up to take advantage of these great offers. For a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only, in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus. Deposit bonus requires 25 times playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Well, we haven't really talked about it yet, Adam. The biggest concern, sure, Davante Adams, and sure, whether or not the offense actually gets off the bus this week. But the real biggest concern is the fact that Aaron Rodgers is playing like a mother bleeping man again. And by the way, I love it. I love watching Aaron Rodgers.
I do. You know, I was saying on our other show, I said, listen, folks, I know the Eagles suck right now on offense, and you're disappointed. Everyone is. If you watch this team inside and out like we all do, it's painful watching them sometimes on offense. However, sometimes you got to look at the other team and see greatness. I know it'll break you up if Rodgers goes off against them. Look, he had a great game last year. So the Eagles defense, when they absolutely had to have a play, they made one. But last year, it's interesting. You know, the word around the league was that Matt LaFleur was struggling play calling last year. Mm-hmm. He was very conservative. He and Rodgers were not on the same page. Rodgers did not have a typical Aaron Rodgers season. It wasn't bad. It was good, but it wasn't anything like this.
No, they're best buddies now.
Yeah, I mean, they are so in simpatico here. It's just they look incredible. And there are a couple noticeable things. I mentioned Robert Tonyan, the former receiver and quarterback from Indiana State, the Sycamores, where Larry Bird went to school.
Yeah.
See, Rodgers was very hard on Marquez Valdez-Scantling last year, really hard on him. Mm-hmm. He's done a good job. He's sort of like their designated deep threat. You'll see EQ St. Brown, Equanimus St. Brown, a tall receiver, another one. He's had a lot of injuries, but he's starting to get into the rotation.
Right.
And obviously the great Davante Adams, who's just tremendous. He's such a good football player. A lot of injuries, but he's off the injury report with his ankle injury. And, Alan Lazard. Here's a little nugget on Alan Lazard. The Eagles actually tried to sign him off the Jaguars practice squad. I'm remembering. I heard this 3 years ago, and I know it happened. Kind of an interesting story. The Eagles have this thing where, and you saw it with the kid, what's the kid's name that was with the Cardinals? Hakeem Butler. Okay, mm-hmm. Hakeem Butler. They wanted to take Alan Lazard and make him a tight end. And I know it was Green Bay and Philly and another team. I just don't remember the other team, but I distinctly remember hearing this years ago because the Eagles, Lazard wanted to be a receiver, so he's a receiver. Mm-hmm. But the Eagles wanted him to be a tight end. And that, hey, listen, this is, you got to be creative sometimes. So it's just interesting. Again, this is a long time ago, but I thought it was an interesting note nevertheless.
Oh, that is an interesting note. I didn't realize that he, as I'm looking at it now, I know he's 6'5", 227, which is, you could see flex tight end in there. I didn't realize he was that tall and big. Yeah,
he is. Adams is 6'1". EQ St. Brown is 6'3 plus.
Yeah.
Tonyan is 6'5". Mm-hmm. Man, he can run, man. I don't care what his 40 time is. He can run, and boy, does Rodgers love him.
Right.
And his chemistry, folks, if you're a Packer fan, by the way, Geoff and I appreciate the Seahawks fans who listen with some great comments out there.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. But if you're a Packer fan, you know this. Tonyan is an athlete, man. And obviously he played receiver and quarterback and now tight end. And when Aaron Rodgers likes you, you're getting the football.
Yes, it certainly is the case, and I think this guy, Tunyon, we've talked more positively about Eagles linebackers over the last 3 weeks, and certainly we did over the first 6 weeks. But I kept saying, they've brought stability, but I do worry about that back end of the schedule and some of the teams that might be able to capitalize on Eagles linebackers again. And this is the type of team, whether it's throwing the Tunyon or whether it's getting Aaron Jones out of the backfield. I'm a little worried about what Aaron Rodgers can do to this middle of the Eagles defense with those kind of weapons. And even, every once in a while he'll throw a bone to Mercedes Lewis, who's mainly right now a blocking tight end, but every once in a while catches one.
Oh, my God. You know what's so funny about him? It might have been
I should call him a holding tight end more than a blocking tight end.
Yeah. I saw him at the Senior Bowl. He was drafted by the Jaguars. He came out of UCLA. He was a first-round pick.
He's enormous.
He was and he can move back then. Now he's been a blocking tight end for years. What an amazing story. I give the Packers credit. I mean, they've hung around with him, and he still gets the job done. And Jay Sternberger, if I'm not mistaken, at the Combine, we interviewed him on Sirius XM. I could have sworn he said he grew up as an Eagles fan, but I don't remember exactly. I think it was one of the tight ends there. I thought it was Sternberger. So anyway, look, this is going to be taxing for Jim Schwartz and his coaches.
Yeah.
But you know what? They did a great job, and I get Rodgers. They have a more wide-open offense, but they'll run it. We didn't even talk about Aaron Jones is terrific. Now, the thing about Jones is, Geoff, this season, he's not getting involved much in the pass game. It's more of a run. He had the calf strain before, but Jamal Williams is their third down back. But when Jones is in, he's not catching the ball a ton, so that actually might help their linebackers. But if you're Matt LaFleur, seeing that tape, I think you got to throw against him.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's gonna be looking to do that. And although I would say you've seen teams run up the middle on the Eagles, for even Chris Carson ran up the middle pretty well. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a couple. Jamal Williams is their bigger back, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he is 30. Jones is 33. Jones is so dynamic. He was unreal last year, man. For fantasy folks last year, well, you know this. This year you're probably disappointed. He's down in numbers, but he and Williams did a great game against Chicago last week. Mm-hmm. But look, as long as Fletcher Cox plays, and we'll find out soon. But if Cox plays, that's going to help them because the Packers could do they could do whatever they want in this game in terms of talent. They're so gifted. They might be they're certainly one of the top 3 most talented offensive teams. Man, are they loaded.
Oh, man, they can beat you. And again, Aaron is playing at a level, and I hate to look, I mean, this is tough for me because I've always been a very, very big Aaron Rodgers fan, right? And I have a feeling we're headed toward a Kansas City, Green Bay Super Bowl, a rematch of Super Bowl I, right? Kansas City, Green Bay?
Kansas City, yes. Yeah. In the L.A. Mausoleum, yes.
Right.
I think.
I'm such a big fan of what Mahomes and Andy are doing out there. I rooted for them to win the Super Bowl last year.
They're beating Pittsburgh.
I have a feeling they will. I'd have a tough time in a Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, I'd love to see that. Oh my God!
What's the final score? 51-48.
Well, here's the thing, right? Because LaFleur's having a breakout season as a play caller. He didn't do well in Tennessee with play calling. He's just doing a great job, and he and Rodgers are on the same page. They could spread you out. See, here's the question. If you're Green Bay, are you going to spread the Eagles out? Because remember, Maddox is not a good outside corner. They don't have anyone else really you could put out there at outside corner.
Right.
You could beat them any way you want. So it's just a matter of if you want to spread the Eagles out. Now Lazard's back from his core muscle surgery here in Philly by the great Dr. Myers. So we'll see. Now, basically, with EQ St. Brown back, they'll probably do a lot of 11, some 10, but some 12.
Yeah,
they could go back and forth. They could do this any way they want. I'll be fascinated to see what Schwartz does to counteract this. The chess match, because they did play last year, though the circumstances are different. The Eagles didn't have Slay last year. They do.
Right. And
the Packers didn't have Aaron Rodgers playing at this elite level. They're even deeper this year because Lazard's a bigger factor now, and obviously Robert Tunyon. Oh man, so we'll see.
Yeah, we shall. Anything? The offensive line for the Packers always pretty good. Bakhtiari is a good left tackle. I know you don't love Bakhtiari as much, but I like him. I think he's a pretty good player.
Solid. Look, he's a solid player. He's not the player. The word around the league is he gets by with his hand usage is terrific. He just kind of, as you get older, they say with offensive linemen, when you lose some of your flexibility, you figure out ways to sort of cheat the process of getting older. You use your hands, you manipulate your hands a certain way to win.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a smart player and he got a major contract extension, so we shouldn't say he's not the same player. They think he is, but right. I don't know if every team agrees with that. But they're okay. They're not a great offensive line. They're decent. Boy, if Lindsley can't play and Cox plays, that'd be a great advantage. But
we got to mention Runyon. Runyon's kid plays for them.
How about John Runyon's kid from Michigan also.
Yeah, 6th-round pick.
Yeah, he actually had to start last week, and he played 70% of the snaps, which they're never talking coming into this season that he'd play, but he did.
Right.
And we'll see if Lindsley's available at center. The Jenkins kid, by the way, moved to center, and I think he moved to center in that game.
Yeah, Elton Jenkins.
Yeah, I think he did.
Nice pick for them. He's a pretty decent player.
Yeah. Yep. Billy Turner was a journeyman, and Adam Gase didn't want him with the Dolphins, but he's turned his career around. He's been a starter for them. Lucas Patrick is one of their starting guards you'll see, and they used MVS, Valdez-Scantling, mostly as a blocker last week, though he played a lot of snaps.
Right.
But, man, if you get him going, he's big. I'll tell you what, he is 6'4"-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Maddox is 5'9". Remember you were saying in the offseason at some point these small corners opposite Slay, it's going to be a problem?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going to put 5'7" and change Roby Coleman out there? I mean, you have to, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the disparity, Adam, in this game is just striking. Like
they're Packers, like monsters, these receivers.
The Packers are number 1 in the NFL in points per game at just under 32. The Eagles are slipping every week. They're at 20. They're like 8th in the league right now at 21.5. 7th, actually. I mean, time of possession, that used to be the area where the Eagles dominated. Packers are number 1 in time of possession. Eagles are, I believe, 26th here. I'm looking at, third down. Packers are 4th in the NFL, 48.46. You look at the Eagles, they are 27th. I mean, it's really kind of, sacks per pass attempt. Packers are 3rd in the NFL, 3.15%. The Eagles, by a mile, are in last place at 10.82%. That's amazing. Carson Wentz gets sacked once every 11 dropbacks. That's
not good.
Or, I'm sorry, 11% of his dropbacks.
It's way again. I was saying on Monday's show, I was sort of guessing. I thought the number was right, and it was. He's on target to be sacked between 60 and 70 times a season, probably closer to 70.
Becoming David Carr.
It's awful. Yeah, it's awful. It's a problem. But if you look at Green Bay, though, one thing I will say about them.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that terrible game they played against Tampa where Rodgers he threw a quick pick six. They got up early, and then they got smoked by Tampa.
Yeah.
They had a bad loss at home when Dalvin Cook crushed them on the run game.
I remember that.
And they had that tough overtime loss where they blew a huge lead at Indy.
Yep.
I mean, they're not infallible. I mean, you could do some things against these guys. You
got to score points, though. That's the
I know.
Big
No, I know.
Yeah.
I see. That's the thing. It's funny you say that because the way that when you talk to analytic people, they always say to you, "Listen, it's okay. You can run the football, but you're not going to score a lot of points. You got to score."
Yeah.
But my problem with that is there are exceptions.
Yes.
If your quarterback is struggling mightily, help him.
Yeah.
Try something different.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Dalvin Cook had 5 touchdowns in that game. Was it 4 rushing and 1 receiving, or was it
in that game, Dalvin Cook went 30 for 163 and a touchdown, rushing 2 for 63 and a 50-yard touchdown catch.
So he only had 2 touchdowns?
No, he 30, 163 and 3 rushing.
Oh, I thought you said 163. You were saying 163
30,
and 3.
163 and 3. 2 catches for 63 and a touchdown, a 50-yard touchdown catch. And it seemed like he could have had more. They know it. They were so undisciplined
in
that game. But look, they have a different run game than the Eagles do. I mean, there are some similarities to Minnesota. Minnesota's zone stretch with Shanahan. I mean, with Gary Kubiak.
Right.
Eagles do some zone, but the bottom line is I would you got to get Sanders involved more. This is a joke. Come on.
I'm with you 100%. We'll see how this thing goes.
I'm in pain over this. Like it's I just hate bad offense. It's so like I've said all along with the bad offense. Just can you play closer games where some people feel like, you know what? Maybe they'll like you were saying last week coming into the game. You almost had me convinced like maybe this is the game where they just when you don't think they'll do it, they do it.
Right.
But they did on defense.
They did.
That surprised me.
That they did. All right. The moment of truth for this podcast has arrived. I'm on the DraftKings app right now, Adam. And have you seen the spread? I'll ask you. Have you seen it?
I saw something on Twitter. I can't believe it's not more than this.
All right. What do you think the spread is?
I saw 6, but that can't be right.
Yes, it's not correct. It is.
It has to be
I
10.
thought it would be more too, but
I thought it'd be 10. That would be my personal line.
That's what I would put it at. But the Eagles are 8.5-point dogs right now. What do you think the over/under is on this game?
52.
Surprisingly, it is lower. It's 48. I mean, that is just the ultimate sign
of
disrespect for the Eagles offense. The Packers are averaging themselves. What did I say the Packers are averaging? 31 points per game.
Okay.
Right? So what they're saying is if the Packers are you just average at 31, the Eagles are probably only going to score 17, right? Jeez. But maybe they're thinking the Eagles will score. But see, the thing is, when you're 8.5-point favorites, though, if maybe they don't expect the Packers to score 31. I'm not sure. But the point is, I thought it would be higher as well. The money line for the Eagles is plus 310, though.
They've had 8 games of 30 points or more. The Packers. I mean, this is not
right.
You're going to have to score, man. I was a little surprised that the Seahawks did not do as well as I thought they would on offense, and I give Jim Schwartz credit. He, as he always does, right when you think, he's in trouble or they're in trouble, whatever you want to say.
Right.
With his defense, they turn this thing around, man. He gets it going.
All right, what score do you got?
I got it. Eagles 17, Packers 27.
Wow, we are really close. I have the Packers winning 31-17.
You're always higher than me. Oh, by the way, I would have gotten the damn under. What the hell was the over-under?
For what, last week's
Yeah, the goddamn Eagles. Wait, did it still go under?
Oh, it went way under.
Okay, yeah, okay. No, but I would have had the cover.
It was 23-17, right?
Right. I would have had the damn. I don't bet, but I just as we talked about it on the show, I would have had the damn thing correctly called. The Eagles with a goddamn cheap touchdown. Come on. I just like to get it right. You know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. All right. So you and I are both 1 week after I tried to give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt and I picked them to beat the Seahawks. I am back off the wagon and I say the Packers win.
Smarten up, brother. Come with me, man. We're going to get this one right. If you could, folks, if you could tell me Wentz could play like average to good offense, oh boy, we got a game. Yes. We're going to have a game like last year. And if Jordan Howard, for some shocking reason, plays and he's a factor, it's another reason why, that's another reason why they could pull an offset. But I just, based on what we've seen, what would give you the confidence that Wentz could get back at least for one game? He's in such a funk like I have not seen.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could say like I have the confidence that he can get it back, but he's playing with such little confidence, and mechanics, as we mentioned on our Monday show, are so off.
Yeah. Mechanics and vision. Vision is really
and he's not pulling the pin, which is another problem. He had, by the way, we said this last year. He had bouts of that, but this is severe, not pulling the pin. Going when your progression read, you go to 3, you skip 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
That'll kill you, because that's how you make your offensive line worse than it is.
No doubt about it. All right, make sure you watch our Sunday pregame show, Inside the Birds pregame live, presented by DraftKings at Goose Island Brewhouse. It'll be a 1:00 start because it is a 4 o'clock game.
4:25.
4:25 game, correct. And look out for our weekly DraftKings Daily Fantasy Football Challenge, which we do every week.
Oh, man, funny thing, so I'm looking at the start of the 4 o'clock game, so I'm like, wow, it shows you how much money you might win if you win it.
Right.
I go, if you're in the running for it. I was like, wow, I'm actually doing really well. I haven't done well since like week 1 or 2 where I finished 5th and won like maybe $30.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know what happened. Like I finished maybe with 150 or something. All these guys in the late games just did average. I'm like, oh,
well,
daily fantasy is tough, man.
I've been frustrated. I'm getting a top 5 finish this week. I'm predicting it right now. So come at me, dog. Everybody out there.
I'm taking Tunyon. I'm telling you right now, if they undervalue, I usually don't put my lineup until Sunday. I look for cheap values where the lines makers for daily fantasy don't see it the way we do.
Right.
I'm expecting Tunyon to have a good game against these linebackers because he's a super athlete for the position. Maybe Lazard, only because the second – now, although they did a great job against Lockett, but Lockett's way smaller than Lazard, for the record. So maybe him, but It'll be fun. This and the weather, by the way, is mid-30s. It looks like it's not snowing or anything like that. And the wind has been bad in Green Bay a little bit this season, but it doesn't look like the wind's going to be bad.
That actually disappoints me. I always like a little snow at Green Bay. It's
Dude,
like
you're so lucky, man. I wish I've never been there.
Oh, it's Mecca.
This is
Hey,
Yankee
look,
Stadium. And
we'll do it inside the Birds trip. We'll do it inside.
I'll
the
do
Birds
it once. You know what? Well, we'd have to be the Eagles playing, right?
Yeah.
Someday. I don't know when. I haven't looked at the future schedules, but that's a great idea. What someday, folks, when we get out of this damn
pandemic,
COVID pandemic, we'll do it because Geoff and I were going to do some events this spring, and the draft party we're going to have, and all sorts of great events, but they got postponed for a year, so we'll do them for sure once this clears up.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to that. That'll be fun. We will do that. All right, that'll do it for this edition of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles Intel. Big thanks to our producer, Hunter Brody. Check him out on YouTube. It's called Sports Talk with Broads, and you can check out the latest edition of Motion Broads, where we went through some Eagle stuff, some Sixers, and also some Phillies.
Oh, boy, is he yelling?
Oh, yeah, both of us got a little passionate about it.
I got to hear this. What is this on YouTube and –
yeah, it's on his normal YouTube channel, Sports Talk.
Okay, great. I will watch that later today. Awesome.
All right, cool. And also check him out on Twitter at Broads81.
He's great. By the way, he does a great job.
He's the best.
So much passion and energy. Oh, my God. Hunter does a great job.
And we always thank you for flying with us inside the bird.